Okay, so first video in the series for econometrics. And actually I'm going to be doing statistics review before we jump into econometrics. So we're basically just going to jump right in, starting with, and I'm not doing all of statistics. I'm just going to do a couple of example problems about halfway through the statistics course, and these will just be things that I think are going to be kind of necessary to prime you for econometrics. So, suppose we have observations. There's observation 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have some associated x values with each of those operations, 2, 4, 6, and 8. And we want to know what is the variance and standard deviation, and I'll just abbreviate standard deviation. So the formula for the variance, there's two different formulas. There's population variance. It's going to be sigma xi minus x bar squared all over n, and then there is the sample variance, sigma xi minus, and now we made a mistake, whoopsies. So this will be mu, the population mean, so it's whatever x value minus the population mean that we're observing versus this is x bar squared over n minus 1. And so x bar here is a sample mean, and then mu is the population mean. So that's the difference. And to simply grab the standard deviation, so these are variances, all we do is just take square roots. So nice and easy there. For our purposes, we'll assume, since there's only 4 values here, this is probably a sample. So obviously I just pulled these numbers right out of my hat. My non-existent hat that I'm not wearing. But we'll go ahead and calculate the sample variance for this data set. So first things first, we're going to need x bar, so the mean of the sample set. And that's going to be found by, we take the summation of all the x values and then divide it by n. And sorry, that's a little scrunched there. So that's 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. And so if we combine these, this is 10. And combine these two, it's also 10. That's going to equal 20. And then divide that by the number of observations, n, which equals 4. So that equals 5, equals the sample mean. So keep that in mind, that 5 is our sample mean for this. Now that we have our sample mean, now first things first, we want the summation of the differences of all the x values and their sample mean, and then squaring that. So 2 minus 5 squared plus 4 minus 5 squared plus, then we're going to do 6 minus 5 squared plus, and then finally 8 minus 5 squared. So these turn out to be negative 3 squared plus negative 1 squared plus 1 squared plus 3 squared. And that's going to turn out to be 9 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9, which is going to equal 20. So that's our top value, is 20. That's what this equals. It's 20. And then all we have to do then is divide by n minus 1. So that's 4 minus 1, which equals 3. And so our sample variance is going to equal the just 20 over 3. So this value over minus n minus 1. That was in our formula. So we can erase that. And then if we want our sample standard deviation, just take the square root of both sides. Square root of 20 over 3 is our sample standard deviation. And that's going to kick off our video series. Some of these videos will be longer, some will be shorter, just kind of depending on the duration of the topic. But hopefully you found that useful. Again, if you don't want to go through the statistics reviews for econometrics, I'm going to start the course this way. This is really not course. I'm really that's a bit pretentious. I'm using these as tutoring tools, so we'll end up basically just I'm using this to sort of build up to econometrics topics, and then you can kind of run through those videos. I do intend for it to pretty much cover every relevant topic in undergrad econometrics and then some. But I will put a link in the description to when you can really start worrying about what is actually more econometrics. There's going to be somewhat of a kind of a seamless blend, I feel. The way I've already structured a lot of my notes on this is going to kind of blend a little more seamlessly. So it might feel still a little statistics review-y while we're dipping into econometrics, but that's the direction that we'll go with this. My video series is going to be more detail-oriented in that sense, so you might find that the amount of time I spend on these things is more than what you need, and if that's the case, my channel might not be right for you, but if you need a lot, that's my intent for the channel. Is I'm going to try and just throw a lot at you, throw a lot of detail at you. Key for me is detail. I like understanding why things work and in a very detailed way. I don't like skipping algebraic steps if I don't have to generally, although I will probably in the statistics review, but as we get deeper into econometrics, I will not. So we'll see you next time.